Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairul mursaleen. Muhammadin an-Nabi al-Ummah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Qur'an al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala an-nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Well, tonight we'll talk about maybe 3 short subjects. One, of course, since this is sunset just passed, so this is Ashura, the 10th of Muharram. And it's a very special day for Muslims. For Shias all over the world, it's the day of the martyrdom of the Imam Hussein. Yesterday was Tasua, which was the day before the martyrdom. And it's one of the reasons for the revolution and one of the reasons for the saving of Islam, the Islamic spirit, was Ashura. Now, Sunnis and Shias have a different view. Shias believe that since the Sunnis, the Yazid and his crew, the criminal Muslim element, in order to take their mind off of the Muslims' mind off of Karbala, that they had a lot of hadith fabricated, like everything in the earth was created on Ashura, Bani Israel crossed the sea on Ashura, things like that, that many of the significant events in history was on Ashura, and I think it's a day of fasting and what have you. But the one that's celebrated with the most passion is Ashura from a Shia perspective. Very important because it was a mourning ceremony that brought the people out and during the time of Imam Khomeini and had him face down the Shah's army. In the last couple of years, no, not the last couple of years, since Iraq was liberated from Saddam Hussein, where people can come from all over the Muslim world. The first year, I think it was on Ashura, no, it might have been Arbaeen. It was 4 million people, a lot of them walking barefooted. That's a big number. That's when I gave that lecture on Al-Bayt. Maybe it must have been at least 10 years ago. Because people didn't have any idea why are they doing that, what is surrounding that. That's when I gave the lecture on Al-Bayt. The other thing is that I just came from the movie for the second time this week. And one was Nat Turner. The other one was, what is it? Deepwater Horizon. We remember Deepwater Horizon when the rig blew up in the Gulf. I happened to take the family to the Gulf, and we'd been down on the other side of the Gulf. We was down Miami. We came back, stopped at Daytona Beach and all of that, and then we came up and went across 10. We was going to a program I imagine in Texas somewhere. What happened was, I said, we'll stop and go and visit the Gulf. And we got to the Gulf of Mexico. Pensacola now is on the other side. You come up Florida, you go all the way over to the other side, just before you get to Alabama. I-10 takes you right through Pensacola. Pensacola was known for white beaches and everything. When we got to Pensacola, even right near the shore, you could see a lot of fish and everything. But the water in the Gulf looked like if you had a bathtub full of water and you took a quart of oil and poured it in there. Hmm. That's exactly what it looked like.
Is that Mark Wahlberg who played in that?
He played in that, yeah.
Right.
It just came out. Oh, it's a good movie. Yeah. 11 people died, and it fit right in with Nat Turner. First, I'll deal with Nat Turner. Now, when I saw it, the first thing I did was went home and got out the old family tapes. Those family tapes is in 1984, when my father was getting a little old, I taped our family history from his side. The only mistake I made, I didn't get it from my mother's side. He was born in 1900. The first question I asked him was, who was our oldest relative that you remember? And he told us it was Wash Reams. And he was born in 1800. And that he was a stud on the plantation. And that's why we know all of our family. And he told me our family history about before we was in Arkansas, we was in Louisiana, and he was telling us about during the Civil War, when the white folks up here was going south, that Alabama is up this way, not really up this way, it's deep south, but that they moved the slaves, some of them moved the slaves farther south. Because they was recruiting slaves, there was over 200,000 slaves fought in the Civil War, you know. And at the end, it showed a picture of this little boy that morphed into a soldier. Remember the way it closed out? Now, what I liked about that, and I'll get back to Nat Turner, the time of Nat Turner was the time of my great uncles who fought in the Civil War. Okay, now that's Uncle Clarence, Uncle Marshall, all of those people, because the kids was always named after Uncle, so those names were right down in the family up to me, you know. So, my grandfather, my great grandfather did not fight in the Civil War. He could care less. Why? He was 61 years old already by the Civil War time, and he was a stud on the plantation. But my father told me about the process. When a girl was 12 or 13, either the master came and went into her, or he had to go in to the girl, even though it was his own daughter. Because he's a stud. A stud was a bit just like you stud the cattle. You know, you get a good, big, strong buck, and that was his job. He didn't do a whole lot of hard work because he needed rest from all that studying, which would have been a pretty good job. So he wasn't worried about freedom, but Nat Turner time, Now, Turner was probably born about the same time as my great super great grandfather, around 1800, because their fighting for liberation is, I think the movie said 1838, 39, but technically it might have been 1837, around there. Didn't make a difference. The uncles that fought in the Civil War, the oldest one was born the year the stars fell. Okay, the years, you know, now niggas tell time, but they can't remember what year it was. But if you go to the almanac, you'll see that was either 1831 or 1833. It was a big meteor shower. And they said that the stars was bouncing around like balls. You know, in other words, it was a big meteor shower. To the slaves, it was a stars fell. I mean, you know, you don't have any astronomy. And those boys in our family that was born around that time, one of the main battles they fought in was the Battle of Vicksburg, 1863. That's when the northern white folks took control of the Mississippi. Vicksburg is on the Mississippi River, and when you're on one side, it's Mississippi, on the other side is Louisiana. Now, my father was telling me that the niggas was pitching white folks like pitching hay, and that they swam the Mississippi River 3 times. Now, I haven't had all of this in my head, but I never really so. But of course, you know, the rifles had one shot, and if the people up on you, you use them bayonets. Can you imagine them niggas been pitching hay and picking cotton and doing all that hard work, and they were just jugging in them white folks? They was pitching them like hay. That's what they niggas was doing, the Battle of Vicksburg. Because it's a close order drill. I was given a lecture. I had given some lectures in New Orleans and in Baton Rouge. And then I was going to Mississippi. And I saw a sign just before Vicksburg's long flat area. And it said Mississippi River. And I kept on driving. And it said Mississippi River again. Then just before getting into Vicksburg, it says Mississippi River. I said, I'll be damned. See, now you know, like a river would run like an S. And if the highway is made straight, it'll run Mississippi River, Mississippi River, Mississippi River. I said, I'll be damned. So their history was accurate, you know. And when you read the black history, which they call the soldiers, angels. In fact, if you want to order a good movie, order a movie called Band of Angels. It's Clark Gable, made in 1957. The dialogue, it's about slavery time. It's about a high yellow girl that was, you know, it'd have to be that. Yvonne DiCarlo, I don't know if y'all remember her. Mm-hmm. She played a mulatto. Long story short, when she was a little girl, her daddy was alive. Mm-hmm. He treated her special, just like a white girl. Yeah. Sent her up north to get educated, and that's why she could meet all them white folks and everything, the northern white folks. Mm-hmm. Then he dies. And she'd asked the question, why is Mama not buried in the regular cemetery with everybody else? Well, the little girl, her mama was black, and he never told her. Because she looked, you know. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's the whole plot of the thing, except that it's during slavery time. And that's one of the best parts played by Sidney Poitier. Mm-hmm. And no, it was a good movie, but if you did the dialogue, and they talk about slavery. Clark Gable is a reformed slaver. You know what I mean? Just nice to niggas,
Right.
you know. And he raises, what's the name, is his son, like, I don't want to get off the subject, but it's called Band of Angels. It's just a movie, it made in 57. But since it's made in 1957, it's closer to reality. See, them old movies, Gone with the Wind and all of them, are much closer to reality than modern movies. And if you see the one, what's the one I passed out, Uncle Tom's Cabin, made in the silent one, okay, they didn't even have to make no props. That's about 55 or 60 years after the Civil War, 35 years, yeah, okay, about 60 years. Do you know that they didn't have to change the props much? The steamboats was the same. The wagons that we had in our family was the same, Conestoga was the same wagons they had in the Old West. You know, big spokes, the wagons that we used, cotton wagons. The wagons when we grew up was exactly the same. You know them old covered wagons?
Right.
They were the same wagon. Exactly. All this stuff, you see the lady getting water out of the pump. Okay, that pump was a little bit different, but if you remember Little House on the Prairie, it was the same exact pump. The point I'm making is that there's a point about the South. The people in the South didn't move much. So when they stayed in a town and they told a story, everybody could verify it. That's why I left the South when I was 6 years old, but we went back at 12. And I asked my grandmother that was born in 1871, that's during Reconstruction. That's 6 years out of slavery. So it might as well be in slavery, because it was Reconstruction. So I asked her, Grandmama, were you a slave? She said, because I went out there and studied a little. She said, no, but old Miss So-and-so was, and old Mr. So-and-so. He was the woman, no. Old Miss So-and-so was born up in slavery. That means she was about 15 years old. She was 90 then. So she was 90 in 1956. That's what she would be, 90, 91. She was 15, 14 or 15, 12. She was at the age of work. Now old Mr. So-and-so was just a little boy. So he played around and didn't do much, run through the cotton field. Like I did, I left at 6 years old. So I just get on the back of the mule and ride. When we used the white man's tractor, I just ride on that as my brother, oldest brother, was plowing. But alhamdulillah, I got out of there before that work, because that work in modern times is serious work. But anyway, I'm going to speed up because I don't want to spend too much time. I like that movie a lot. I like the scenes in it. I like the storyline. And I always, I don't know about everybody else, but I always put myself in the movie. I don't know, everybody else should do the same. And being born in the Deep South in that environment, people can say what they want, but in 1950 and 49, when I started remembering real good, the attitude of black people was the same as back in slavery. It was no different. That's why Martin Luther King was doing a big deal. Okay, down in the South. You couldn't imagine him getting niggas to shoot at white folks in the South in the 50s and 60s, impossible.
My family's from that area.
Huh?
My family's from that area.
Right.
Southampton County.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that stuff.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, all our people, if you would talk to the last real old generation, they would have memories of that attitude. Now, one thing I want to mention too, it's a total difference, even white folks, about northern white folks and southern white folks. You drive down south, as soon as you get across in every town square, you got General Beauregard, General so-and-so, and when you talk to them white folks, when they talk about a battle, it's like they was almost in it. They remember the whole day, their uncle, great uncle, and it's passed down to them. Because up until maybe this generation now, they all fantasize about the good old days when niggas was in slavery. They up until, I mean, they was waiting for the slave ship to come back up until a few years ago. The generation, that only, I would say this generation, when I say now, people that are 30 years old and older, may not, but anybody older than that, anybody born in the 50s, and back there, they still, they still had it. So all the old white folks, definitely, they remember all of that history. Just like our people remember because they didn't do as much reading and writing, although my family did. People remembered. When I was recording my father, he was talking about one day, he said, yes, he went to Seattle, Washington, and the last time we heard from him, we got a postcard on April something or other, 1934. I said, God, this is 1984. That is, I was younger. I said, 50 years ago? He can remember the date on the damn postcard like it ain't nothing. And they did that. Just like people, see, before all this gadgetry, people remembered everything.
That's right.
They had to remember stuff. They didn't take notes and everything. I'm going to try to speed up. But I looked at Nat Turner from a different point of view than most. He did a wonderful job. But he fought based on his own experience and what he read about. Just like that white lady told him, oh, don't you worry about this. This is white folks' books. If he'd have read anything about the Revolutionary War, he'd have realized that the biggest thing that they learned was don't fight them, the British face to face, because they the superpower. They got everything, right? Shoot them from behind. When they started winning, they fought them engine style. Ambushes from behind trees and everything.
Guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, guerrilla warfare. And they shot, here's a man gonna go to the damn armory in the city called Jerusalem, of course, and raid the armory. It's insanity. It's insanity. But it made sense to them. The first thing, you got a group of niggas. You in a county that's outnumbered. In fact, most of the South, the white folks, shoot, every white person had a servant. The rich ones had a servant, and 3 full servants, and all the work done. So the Negroes way outnumbered white folks, and it was 4 million slaves doing slavery down in Dixie. About 4 million, yeah. So, the next thing is, you don't need all of them weapons at an armory. Guerrilla warfare means the master that he killed had a rifle or 2. The overseer had a rifle or 2. He had another place, so they're going to have 5, 6, 7, 8. The bad old mean ones that they cut the boy's head off, the white man, they're going to have And they all, you could see, they would have had 10 rifles. That's enough. Guerrilla warfare means you wait and you hit. And you don't go to the big plantations, you wait and cool off. You may even go to another area. He can read, he can go back to the library and get a map of the United States. Of course, like I say, he is not thinking about that. And he could think about where he's in the Carolinas. But if you go west at that time, that's Davy Crockett time. We got Tennessee and all that over there. You can go west. And that's a little bit too late to go south, which is closer to Florida, because Florida was Spanish territory. Right. In the early part of slavery, the blacks didn't go up north, they ran to the south, and they lived with Seminoles. That's why there's so many blacks and Seminoles, you know. When it was Spanish territory, it wasn't the white folks' territory. I mean, these white folks. Anyway, we look at everything as a research, as a study, and we have to do that. That's what made the movie so nice. Also, it gives a little bit of the inkling, different from the white folks sanitized slavery movies. This gives you a little taste of what it was like and how they treated black people. The other thing is the white man helped make that turn. Yes, they did. They helped make it. They was going to use him as a stooge. What do I think about? The white man, myself, was a dope dealer. The white man, yes, yeah. And the Muslims. The Muslims may not all be police, all Iranians. They may just wanted to do what people always do, use you for the period of time that you're useful to them. When they need motivation, which that's what we did. We did a good job. You think, we don't even give talks now like we did then. All the talks then were well studied, to motivate people. Because this is a big fight and everybody here is isolated and cut off, and we're fighting here all alone by ourselves. So you got to juice the people up. That's what we did, especially for about 10 years, almost 15. So the white man wanted to use Nat Turner to go around and keep all the niggas calm and down. But all they did was expose him to not only, see, his master wasn't that bad, I mean, for a master, you know what I mean, he worked him a little bit, but he didn't. Now, when he went around to them other white folks, and you could see the house of them poor white folks, when I'm watching a movie and I see that house, I said, these is poke crackers, overseers. The white folks, and lo and behold, they treat their slaves the best. So some of them that wouldn't eat, they had them locked up, they just knocked their teeth out and force fed them with a funnel. And I let him see. So it was meant to calm down the Negroes and squash the rebellion. Yeah, they started the rebellion and put him in contact where he knew where everybody was. He wouldn't have known that where no plantation is if he stayed on the plantation unless he went up to the street with his master and back. But now he knows what their whole county looked like. So many times the power structure will create the environment for its own downfall. Just like they created Nat Turner. And he took everything from the Bible. But you have to remember, all the Negroes had a different view. When they heard the Bible, they heard themselves in it. And it was, go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. That was the most popular song during that time. Wade in the water, dogs could smell the water. I mean, could smell your own land. But wade in the water meant to go down to the river. The train is coming tonight. You know, the Underground Railroad is coming. So anybody want to what? Steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here. It's clear to me and you what they was talking about. But the old massacres, my darky show can't sing. So Negroes wasn't so dumb after all. You know those trees with little, that you see in the movie with not vines, but all that stuff hanging down?
Weeping willow?
Huh?
Weeping willow trees?
They weren't weeping willows. All those trees that you saw, when they show you some trees, those were turpentine trees.
Okay.
And the slave, see, dogs can't smell. When turpentine kills the smell. So the Negroes, turpentine trees is real big in Louisiana, down in Arkansas and all down in Carolina and all them wet states. There's a lot of turpentine trees. But just imagine, the slave couldn't go to the store and get a bottle of turpentine, or he wouldn't want too much to be missing from the white folks' medicine cabinet. So what would he do when he run off? Barefooted, of course. He'd just run and stick his foot in cow doo. Because the turpentine dripped down on the grass. The cow eats the grass and processes the turpentine a little bit. And the doo-doo is full of turpentine. And they couldn't smell the Negro. So, whatever God give you, you use that. The other thing is that I learned is don't make a judgment till you see it yourself most of the time. Because the stuff they showed me, the trailer they call them, it looked like they setting the folks up to get hurt. But no, if this is done right, it comes right at the time of Black Lives Matter. It will remind the Negro, this stuff has been going on all the time. And like on the Rock Bar's website, I'm giving a talk in Iran, and I tell them about the stages. I said in slavery they didn't kill you because you was property. They just whoop your behind real good. Put the fear of God in you. Now, after Jim Crow, after Reconstruction and doing Reconstruction, to keep you in your place, they're going to hang a few people because they got plenty of extra Negroes. So they would lynch us and hang us all the way up until the World War II, really in the 50s. There was a couple of lynchings in the 60s, but the 50s was the last big lynching period. But in the 40s and the 30s, in fact around 1935, they was That was a big year, period, for lynching. So what they did after lynching is they shot us. You don't go way back and you find them shooting niggas all the time, shooting niggas. It was after the rebellion. And a little before, they were shooting blacks. That's what they was doing all in Detroit, everywhere. Everything started because of police brutality, shooting niggas. Okay. Everything that the Black Lives Matter is asking for is exactly the same thing that people got during the 60s. Civilian review boards, police review boards, neighborhood watches. They already had all that. It don't work. I think this movie, and if we help in our publicity enough, it will help our people understand, which Black Lives Matter will finally understand, that there's no solution to any problem except total transformation. There is none. And this is the point that everybody is reaching. There ain't no solution except transformation of the society. That was the time during Imam Hussein. It was resistance. And we're reaching a stage now of resistance. Resistance is growing in every area that it should be growing in. On the Islamic side, Shia resistance, the Shias are ready. The Shias are ready. I don't believe there's no way to turn this thing around. It's already gone too far. And the people themselves help set the scenario up perfectly. All during the late 70s, 80s, and 90s, we were having unity programs and we were trying to explain how Saudi Arabia was the monster and all that. Wasn't nobody listening. Now everybody knows Saudi Arabia is the monster. And Saudi Arabia has a policy, we've said it 10 times, of insanity. They've given all the money that they have now to white folks to buy weapons. They've given all the weapons openly to Daesh. Musa, everybody. It was the Saudis that started Al-Qaeda. It was the Saudis that started Osama bin Laden. Arabs call him Osama Bush Laden. Everybody knows Osama Bush Laden. So there's millions of people today, and I was watching Press TV. They showed all over the Muslim world. I was going to go out to the IAC myself tonight. I said, forget it. Because they're having a big Ashura program out there. Cars will be parked all the way down to the freeway. It'll be thousands. That's what it is. But these lectures are having a serious effect. Because the last year or two, the lectures I've been giving to them is the lectures I've been giving here. Is that from Karbala to the world. And now, everything, the Triangle of Terror and all that. Now, Triangle of Terror was 2011. It don't seem like it, but that's 5 years ago. You notice how quick time? That's 5 years ago. Triangle of Terror is 5 years ago. The part Saudi Arabia plays, the part the U.S. plays, the part the Zionists play. They all just upgraded what they do a little bit. But everybody's getting ready. The United States is a done deal. It's been a done deal. Okay. Now, I want to flip a minute to Deepwater Horizon. Deepwater Horizon, it shows the white folks and the few Negroes, working on them platforms. But the scenario is basically that the white man is there from British Petroleum, overworking and taking chances. They run their little tests, and part of it comes out good, the other part is bad. And they say, well, go ahead anyway. Keep pumping and keep doing this. This is no, man, it's something. So he tells them basically, you do it, basically you're finished. I'm reporting all of this to British Petroleum. He's an American, but he's reporting. So anyway, they got a good cast. And the scenes was good too. And they got that boy blowing up like it really blew up on TV, And all the scenario around that. It reminded me right away of the people who built the pyramids. If they died, they just dumped them in the mash with everybody else. Either they buried in it or they buried right down beside it. But it showed that this is definitely beyond just people of color. This move, because you see the attitude of the middle class, the working class white folks. And if they work on the rig, they're getting paid pretty good money. But how they expendable white folks. How the big companies, not only Black Lives Matter, not only Wall Street, but remember, those things were meant to help. Wall Street did not, Occupy Wall Street did not fail. It didn't fail. This is just a few years ago, it woke up millions of people. The first little shaking is not, don't wake the people up all the time. This is where patients come in. Sometimes we say, this ought to do it here. When they stole the election in 2000, 2004, you know what I mean? And then Barack Obama and I said, this ought to be just about the last go-round because everybody ought to be able to see what this is. Now, this election was a wrestling match, of course. They're all on the same team. Donald Trump is supposed to throw the match. You can tell he got to be thrown. Nobody would be as stupid as he is. He's throwing the match, right? He's throwing the match. And they're bringing out stuff that they all been had. They just stumble by, I just thought about keeping it, and I don't know. Bringing it out at the time they're supposed to. And he's making the moves he's supposed to because he's supposed to lose, but they're supposed to get all the white folks involved to vote. Because we don't want to vote for nobody. But the fools, it would be better for them to have a low vote and better candidates, right? Than to have a lot of votes which the people that like Don gonna come out and vote for him anyway. But his job too was to destroy the Republican Party. He did that a long time ago. He knocked them right away during the primaries, whatever. He knocked them. The way they just snatched the respect. See, the big white man, the big Jews, they all. See, the Zionists don't care nothing about these crackers.
Or anybody else.
That's right. And they don't care about Zionists either, just enough to keep what they going, the Jews. They just want the people to do what they want to do. Look at here. The prestige of the United States cannot go any lower. I mean, it technically can. It will.
See the gut.
Huh?
See the gut.
Look at it. The white folks are saying this is the worst debate in American history, except way back, you know, they used to really, during old Tom Jefferson's time, oh boy, they was having duels. That's when you could, you know, Hamilton and Byrd, and they could go shoot. You know, you could just still have a duel. They really talked bad about each other in those days. I mean, right after the Revolution. But they kind of smoothed out, I think, Lincoln-Douglas debate. Was it Lincoln-Douglas? Back just for the Civil War. Yeah. Well, can you imagine the respect that they lose? They don't have any respect. The economy, although Obama did a much better job than I thought he ever would. With no help, can you imagine? The worst died probably in history. It was probably worse than the original Depression, but they got ways to handle it better now. You know. Because remember, they had the shock, the slide, 1929, it slid down for a while, but it didn't slide, remember? When they started losing houses in 2007, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, they just stopped. No, they ain't stopped. First, they wiped out everybody that got all along. Then right after that, all the people who was underwater. You know. And then, after that, it was the ones that was drug underwater. You know what I mean? It just, hey man, that housing fall went all the way up. A good slide in 2011, that was a good 4 or 5 year slide. That's serious business. And Obama comes in 2008 and the thing is stabilized. What he did with the car industry wasn't bad. Gave money and then they gave it, so they said he gave it back. We don't know, but anyway, whatever. The point is this. Now I remember, what's the name that was head of the Congress, he said, it don't make no difference what you bring. We ain't gonna let you pass nothing.
Mike McConnell.
That's him. Can you imagine? You ain't gonna get nothing back. It don't make no difference what it is. You could have weaving baskets for old white ladies. You know, we ain't passing. Cost you a nigga to pass it. We're just going out. Supreme Court Justice, the nigga, you ain't putting on nobody just because we did it before for everybody else and each other. You'll never get nobody in there. I don't care, he's the best person ever brought up. You ain't gonna do it.
That particular guy that he chose, the Jew,
Right.
that's the one who prosecuted Marion Barry.
Well, see, that shows you how bad he got rid of Marion Barry and they still won't let him get in. Good God Almighty. Okay, that shows you how mean they are. But, hey man, the people are not jumping off buildings now. So technically, Obama as a stooge did better than they're going broke. He was already broke. It was George that started that slide. Come in with, they said they changed the number, $3 trillion in assets. And he knocked it out and left you $8 trillion in debt when he leaves. So what is he going to do? Where's he going to get money? It's borrowing. You know, the white man, it's a higher number now, but a few years ago was, for every dollar that the government spends, they borrow 35 cents. They can only pay back the interest on the loans. Sound familiar? It's like what they do to poor countries. The debt that the U.S. has, they keep talking about 16, 18 trillion, 20 trillion. No. Everybody starts at 50 and they don't stop till they get up close to 80 and 90 trillion dollars in debt.
And Carson, that's the one thing I give him credit for. He said that debt is anywhere between 100 to 200 trillion dollars.
So he's closer to right than anybody. Can you imagine? Let's say it's 75 trillion. I know we can't calculate that high.
It don't sound real.
Well, a million is a million. Then a billion, that's 1,000 million. 1 trillion is 1,000 billion. You start to talk about money now. 1,000 billion dollars. Now you start to talk about money. Now let's see about 50 trillion dollars. 100 trillion dollars. $2 trillion in debt. Nothing you can do about it. So the economy, Russia and China is buying gold. They're buying it over just a little bit of time, but they done stacked up on gold. They're trying to get as much gold. They don't want to start a run on it, so it goes up. If it goes up, then they're going to have to pay more for it. So they're buying gold. The white folks, you watch the white folks on all the ones on RT and all that. What's the white man and the white lady?
Max Kaiser.
Max Kaiser. Mm-hmm. Then the white lady. They make a lot of sense. But you look at everybody else too. You get on that internet, them white folks is laying it out. They lay out a clear decline of America. So the decline is in the movies. Because see, when the other white folks see, oh, that oil rig, they messed up the whole Gulf. The Gulf is just now where you can see it, and the beaches is, I'm telling you, when I went to Pensacola, you know where you read a ring around the tub, a grease ring? Mm-hmm. The tide would come in, and it would have a big grease ring all around the Gulf, the whole Gulf. It looked just like a bathtub half full of water with a quart of oil poured in there. You could see the bottom, you could see stuff, but it was just oil. Okay, so global warming, the hurricanes, the fires in California, they drowning on one coast and burning up. Now, they was talking about last year the drought might be almost over in California. Not so. Rained for a minute, got a little snowpack, and it had rained since.
They say in Carolina right now, since Matthew left, gone, the water's continuing to rise.
Yeah,
they can't figure out what's going on. They say, how the stuff is gone. It's over, and the water continues to rise, and they don't have any solution for it.
And it's inland.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's inland.
See, well, what happens is, you know, the rivers, the stuff float to the low spots, then it drain all down. So all the people downstream, they're going to get flooded out in 4 or 5 days. They're going to... Okay. O'Don said that's a figment of the imagination. It ain't no real global warming. Okay. I'm going to go on and move toward a wrap up. But see, when is your time to go? You assist in your own going. That's why in crime, the white man would always try to create a certain psychological environment up for us. And then we're gone. When I was in the penitentiary, not in the life, but when I was in the 70s, federal pen, I'd go in a TV room sometime and say, are y'all crazy? They was watching Starsky and Hutch and police programs. I said, every program, you're conditioning yourself to fail. I said, y'all, me and you, all of us. In the first part of the program, we did some dastardly deed, but we always get caught. We always go to jail. Why would you watch that? You know how it's going to end. You going to jail. You're conditioning yourself. When I went to McNeil Island, the white man gave us a test with 500 questions. I just closed my eyes and took the test. So they called me and they said, you know, we have a scale to tell so whether you try to take the test or not. You would either be crazy or you didn't take the test. I told the psych, you had on there, what's your favorite sport? You had it 4 or 5 times. And where would you go? I mean, who's your favorite friend? Was it a girlfriend or your mama? And of course, later on, I understood even better. When I was at Leavenworth, a guy hid in the train and got away from shoe shop. This was a big deal breaking out of Leavenworth. They went and picked him up in his girlfriend's house. She must have been on his visiting list. People are brilliant one way and stupid another. I actually told the psychiatrist. And I told the niggas, I said, now, when the FBI, the next case you get, and you decide to run off somewhere, my favorite sport is baseball. I said, all they got to do is ask 2 or 3 questions. What's his favorite team?
Be waiting at the stadium.
They're going to be waiting at the stadium for you. Nigga, y'all is crazy. 500 questions they ask them over and over again. And the people be sitting there thinking, thinking. I said, man, I told my partner, I said, man, no, by then I was thoroughly paranoid. I was the same way I am now. Remember, I didn't, all this is after 73, all the paperwork that, okay, so I'm going to go and kind of wrap up. But eventually, all of this is coming together. Resistance mentality, the school of Imam Hussein, the Yazids of the world, the spirit of martyrdom. You know, you would be shocked when I took Skeeters up in school up there somewhere. So I took Bahia and Fatima. Allahu Akbar. That's martyrdom. I'm telling Fatima. That's the spirit of our ancestors. That's the hell of people when they see the same thing in their own house. They don't know what it is. So I was telling Fatima, I said, that same thing is what we do. So you remember the way the police, I talked to the police, they've been around I said, in slavery, I wouldn't talk to the white man like that. I'd slip around and I'd have popped the cap and run off somewhere. But I wouldn't have been, I wouldn't talk to him like I talk to the police now, but we've engineered this environment for you to learn. You're looking right now in your house, that same exact resistance and rebellion. And the same thing they told him, boy, you're gonna be something like that. I said, the people will tell you that and you believe it, and the first chance you get, that's where you go. Because either they didn't saw something or they know the power of suggestion. And that's what they did in that turn. Boy, that's what you're gonna be. You're gonna be a prophet. Of course, we don't use that terminology now. But the point is, the hypocrisy is so bad. And then they had house niggas in there. That's my favorite subject. No, because see, the kids have to know. I said, they're training y'all to be house niggas, to learn all. I said, when you want to learn how to live, then you come back to daddy. I'll teach you all how to live. But it don't make no difference. Y'all learned already. You know why? I said, y'all been watching all of this. I said, they just scared y'all into cooperating with them, but it don't make no difference. You've already seen it.
It's in your subconscious.
Yeah, you've already seen. And they even mentioned it. Sakina will mention, that ain't nothing. All I do is just and keep right on moving. Why? Because she done seen that over and over and over again already. So they already know it. They didn't let them see it. I was going to talk about a little bit about Oakland, but it's not important right now. Oakland is a done deal. Oakland is where we want it to be. There's nothing anybody can do about the world situation. The trend is already in. You can't stop the flow of the river unless you got a lot of power to divert it, you know, and the stream is turned into a torrent. And as Nat was saying, which the Bible do say, the first will be last and last will be first. We're not looking for the positions of that thing. That's why I bring white folks in it. It's not a liberation of black people only. It's human liberation. It's forces of good and bad. Very soon, the next step, we'll have to have our media so well developed in all areas, and website design and movie making. We have to do all of that. We may have to make hundreds of thousands of CDs and DVDs and pass them out in front of big white folks' church this week and Negro churches next week. But we got to educate people. That's our job. It's our job, and we're not limiting ourselves to, well, we get a little pinch of money. No. It's how you think about it. We're going for this one. Whether the government give us our money back, whether they stall, it don't make no difference. We have to be the voice of resistance, liberation, and also moderation. Nobody is thinking about this stuff in balanced terms. Everybody's going to relate this thing to their own personal experience. Everybody. So the white folks that want freedom from the other white folks, you can see them already, they're already in the mode, you ain't taking our guns. That's all that is to that. They're very clear. The only thing is, we got to say as soon as possible what they won't say. Now, we do it in lectures, but they're not getting enough play yet. But we got to tell the white folks, because see, if the white folks that know say, well, they set this up, they set that up, then they'll be classified as crazy. You know, like that's a conspiracy theory. You see what I mean? So we got to say it to the other white folks. We got to be their mouthpiece. Yeah. We got to be everybody's mouthpiece. We have to cooperate big time with Latinos. Big time. It just so happens. Man, when Allah hooks something up, just like we have all this black history too. When I was down south, I was telling you, I stopped flying and started riding buses and all kind of stuff. Well, of course, in the evening, hot days, I'd sit in the park. Guess who's in the park? Old people. What age are they? 65 and 95 years old, 85. Not too many 95. What are their discussion? What was happening in their life? The Mexican Revolution, 1911 to 1917 and 18. So they're 18 years old. So what are they talking about? Francisco Villa viene este calle. No. This he came down this street. No, he came down that street. And I'm just listening. So, Pomona College, La Raza, you know, the big Mexican organization, we're talking to the guy, we're talking about Pancho Villa and Madero. He was president for a little while. Villa said, so who killed Madero? He mentioned something. I said, Wharton did it. He said, no, so-and-so. I said, I'm telling you, Wharton did it. He thought about it in a minute. He said, that's right. General Wharton did it. You know, the thing I'm talking about is when Allah sends you around, you get around. So if they're making a peace treaty in Colombia, you know why, you don't know why it's not happening, you know why, because your friends are FARC in Ecuador, I'm telling you, it's the reason. You may not know it then, but later on you know it because then you can relate to everybody. See, the Negroes can relate to Negroes. They can't relate to Mexicans and Colombians and nobody else. You know, one of the kids, the thing that wherever they are, when we meet other people, one lady, a nurse, she's from Nigeria. So we're talking. So Sakina says, Dad, you talk to them people like you're from their country. And they had some stuff, big tests come, and they're debating team. Sometimes they just drop something on them right quick. And they got to come up with stuff we haven't heard. So I just, how can you do that? I say, hell, everybody know about the good neighbor policy in Latin America, but everybody don't know about it. You know, they don't know about it. Allah can give you what you need. Dear believers, I am getting very convinced that this go-round is it. That's why we're not going to stall. We don't believe we're going to get another 30, 35 years, but we're not taking no chances. This is it. That's important because of people stalling. You know, they stall us a lot. The camera turned right on for a minute and just the damn thing went off. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Be mad or sad or it's not possible. Hell, it ain't possible. Not just because it's new. Or yeah, it's new because I had it in a bag all the time. I bought it. That's not it. There's somebody in the house, the white man told them, okay, hell, I'll buy another camera. $200, $250, with this on sale. Remember the speakers started cracking out there? I had another one already, just in case. And I'll buy maybe, hell, it's $125, $130. I could buy one a week. Or one a day. It don't make no difference. Why? Because we're gonna do what, this is very important. This basically is it. But since it's it, the history of revolutions and transitions are very, very bad. The aftermath. And in this period of time, with the stuff that we have and the stuff the government have, it's going to have to be a moderation team that has power. In other words, we have to have power. Not power to hurt nobody. But we have to have power to moderate. And I will close with this. Number one, the white man got all the money. Whatever system we change to cannot be during this period of time. Whether it's a temporary period of 20 years for the earth to record, whatever, so we could have a temporary system. But those old standard systems of this is a 200-year system or 2,000, that can't work in modern times. They're trying to use a constitution from 200-something years ago. Now, whatever your profession is, you got to be re-educated in that 2 or 3 times nowadays.
Upgrade.
You got to upgrade, and you may your profession may go out. It ain't no more of them. You know what I mean? It ain't no more of them. That's just all of a sudden that it ain't don't nobody need those anymore.
You know, it's like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee talked about Wing Chun Kung Fu.
Right.
That's what he learned. And what got him in trouble was that he saw the flaws, he saw the good points in it, but he saw the age-old flaws, the age-old stuff. So what he did, he improvised it. He brought this stuff up to modern day where you can use it, no fixed positions. And that's what you have to do with any system. You can't keep on, what happened back there, the original Wing Chun, that was good for them. But he had to bring it up to date. And I guess you do that with all systems.
The point about power, kindness, optimism, all that stuff, they're real. You have to have people that can exercise power as needed with kindness as the principle, because all revolutions and all the revolutionary leaders They don't have no idea about tazkiyah bil nafs, purification of the nafs. If they were to go through a minor process of tazkiyah bil nafs before the revolution, we would be somewhere. But they never do. They're going to be easy pickings for the big white folks. Remember, they got all the money. They could buy 2 or 3 people with they can cause so much corruption in the ranks that it's going to be unbelievable. Their ability to cause fitna is much better than it was before, writing letters and scattering. No. This thing is going to be a big trauma for everybody that haven't been through them before, which nobody has. See, nobody has had to go through what we've been dealing with all these years because nobody lived that long. They don't let you live long enough to get the training. You know, so if I'm still here doing the stuff I'm doing, the way I'm doing it, it's because it's a God saying it. They know it don't have nothing to do with niggas. Because when the white man get tired of niggas, they gone, just like that. Just like the nigga said, what's the name? We dead! We're all dead anyway, it's too late. This old house nigga. You know, same one played in Panther. The black FBI agent, Panther.
Oh, no.
Do you remember him?
The light-skinned dude.
Yeah. He's a little older now, though, but he's still a good nigga.
Yeah.
He plays those for us real well.
He played Do the Right Thing, too.
Is that right?
Remember he was the one walking around the picture, Malcolm.
Yeah, Malcolm and King.
And he played in American Gangster, too.
Yes, he did, yeah. Oh, he didn't play, I didn't see him.
And he played in Deep Cover. Remember,
yeah, he was a snitch. He was a snitch.
But he's a snitch all.
He played a good snitch part. But anyway, I'll move toward a close. I may make a few more of these. But we're in our, when we talk about learning in public, that's what we're doing. We're doing all of this. We're talking about things that really matter, and you know. And this is something people didn't do before. It's a little dangerous because the white man study you, and if you talk too much, he can get a pretty good picture. Well, in my case, the white man started studying me before I even knew what he was doing. He did everybody like that. But we feel confident that we can meet him on the psychological and emotional field without batting an eye and without any, not giving him what he deserved. This is going to take a combination to bring this through. If we don't do it, I don't see anybody on the horizon. That's all I'm saying. I don't see any white folks on the horizon, the peace movement and this and that and other. They're not getting enough tussle to come to this conclusion because they don't have an ideology to help them along. There are many of them, though, that are reaching these types of conclusions. I mean, I have some of the sites you can go to. They are reaching these types of conclusions. But we were diverted as a people from certain successes, I believe, for this. If we'd have been successful in the other, we wouldn't be here. You see what I mean? This stuff, if you believe in destiny, the correct belief, that's what we all believe in. So, we'll talk a little bit about Oakland and what the plans are at another time. We're just about ready to go because we've got enough for this period, you know. So, are there any questions or comments about anything that was said? Any questions, any comments? I'd like to ask one, how does this line up these three issues? I mean, does it fit? Carbon resistance, the system shaped, not turning. The rulers being of the Yazid type. Martyrdom in Nat Turner, martyrdom in Muharram. What do we learn from martyrdom? Deepwater horizon. The people with the money will work the people of their same race and color to death and dump them overboard anytime. Anything come up, just like they
trample them like horses, like the horses trampled.
Yeah. They are. See, we have to help. That stuff about this. I know this love talk kind of sounds a little funny. This is sweetheart stuff. But technically, I have did a scientific research on the matter, on all these issues. And this is a conclusion that we come to, first of all, from a Quranic point of view, from a historical point of view. You know, from the Islam. When the Prophet ﷺ took over Mecca, he didn't knock over Abu Sufyan and them. They needed it. Some people said that they took 4 lives, some say 16. I don't know, it was a general amnesty. And they deserved. They had killed friends and family members. They deserved to get a little treatment, but they didn't get it. So, I thank y'all very much for paying attention and for coming. We're in the stages of transition. That's all we can say. So we should rejoice that Allah has given us a chance to play a part in it. And it's already been a good part, but I think we're going to play a major part in this. If we don't, we'll go out happy. So thank you very much. As-Salamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh.